Greetings everyone, we are Babysitters, and today we will represent Chapter 7 and 18. In Chapter 7, I will walk you guys through marketing strategy and marketing segmentation. Companies nowadays recognize that they must have a customer-driven marketing strategies that build the right relationship with the right customer. So most companies now, they move away from mass marketing and move to target marketing. That means they identify the market segmentation. They pick one or more of it, and they develop products and marketing so they can focus only into those segmentation that they have chosen. I'll walk you guys through each of the segments. First, we have geographic segmentation. The definition is dividing the market into different geographical units, such as nations, regions, cities, or even neighborhoods. A company may decide to operate in one or a few geographical areas or operate in all areas, but they must pay attention to geographical differences in the needs in one. I'll take them P&G as example. In total, they have 9 products about fabric cares. But here in Vietnam, well, we only have 3 products. The same goes with the hair care products. They have 6 in the market, and we have only 3. And I think the Old Spice is about to join into the market, the Vietnam hair care products as well. Not only because this is a different in geographic, but they also combine with other factors that affect the decision of P&G here. So move on to the demographic segmentation. It's the dividing the market into segments such as gender, age, life cycle, income, generation, religion. Basically the things that make us different from each other. Demographic are easier to measure than most of other types. In age and life cycle stage, I have an example. For kids, we have Aussie kids. For teenagers and adults, we have Head and Shoulders. Maybe older people may use herbal essentials. Gender, we have male products and women products. Incomes, the incomes are pretty important because the more income they have, the more quality product they want. So they may have herbal essential, or they may have tresemme for this. The psychographic segmentation is dividing a market into different segments based on the lifestyle or personality characteristic. The psychographic segmentation goes well with the demographic segmentation. Based on the info from the demographic, marketers can make an assumption about the target segment psychology. Like for male, they can be more adventurous. For model, they prefer to buy products that are more quality. Behavioral segmentation is dividing the market into segments based on consumer knowledge, attitudes, and uses or respond to a product. In behavioral segmentation, we have occasional segmentation. Example as the pumpkin spice latte by Starbucks. They only sell this product in the autumn. Benefit segmentation, we have apples. The benefit segmentation is where people buy a product that satisfies their benefits. They buy an Apple Watch to track their heart rate or count their footstep. The loyal status is when the customers stay loyal to a brand. Like Apple create an ecosystem around their product, so the customer don't have to go outside and buy other products. Marketers often use multiple segmentation-based spaces to identify smaller and better defined target group.
Now I'd like to talk about segmenting business markets. Consumer and business marketers use many of the same variables to segment their markets. Business buyers can be segmented geographical, demographical, and user status, loyalty status, and so on. These business marketers also use some additional variables such as operating characteristics, purchasing approach, situational factors, and personal characteristics. I want to talk about the geographical locations. Company can segment international markets using one or a combination several variables. They can segment geographic locations, group countries by regions such as Africa, so Asia, or Western Europe, and so on. Geographical segmentation customers destinations close to one another will have many common traits and behaviors. I have, for examples, if you are looking for nearby restaurants in Vietnam, then Google search results will use your locations based on your device iPhone approach. You just play to go in a small radius. Another way productive for by locations is through target markets by in references. Next one is the economic factors. Worst markets can also segment this based on economic factors. Countries might be crossed by population, economics, income levels, or by their overall level. Therefore, the marketing opportunity is offered. And the next one is the political and legal factors, such as the time of the stabilities of the government, receptivities to foreign firms, and the groups being markets according to common the language regions, attitude, comments, and behavioral pattern. Last one is the cultural factors. In the East country will have the different culture, so the cultural factors so important for the marketers. I have example for that with the McDonald's. The company takes into the consideration cultural differences. In the India, McDonald's doesn't sell any beef or pork in any forms in any of the outlets. Instead of ground beef and pork patties, the McDonald's menu in India features Indian burgers that are 100% vegetarians. To introduce for you is the requirements for effective segmentation. There are many ways to segment a market, but not all segmentations are effective. To be useful, segments must be measurable, accessible, substantial, and differentiable. The last one is the actionable.
I am going to talk about the second step of the STDP marketing strategy. After the first step of segmenting the markets, the company now should target which among those segments that they would serve, and we call this process market targeting. There are two steps involved in the market targeting step. First, the company should evaluate market segments, or in other words, contrast the market segments according to these three criteria. 1. Segment size and growth. That is, whether there are a lot of competitors in the segment or not, or can there be many new entrants into this segment or not. Number 2, segment structural attractiveness. That is, the power of buyers in the segment, or the power of suppliers in the segments. And finally, number 3, company's objectives and resources. This leads us to the next step of marketing targeting. To select target market segments. Looking at the slides, you can see that there are 4 types of marketing strategy ranking upon the scale of broadness and specificness. Briefly, undifferentiated or mass marketing is the broadest method. Segmented or differentiated marketing lies the second. Concentrated or niche marketing is in the middle. It is the most effective and efficient way. And finally, micro-marketing is the narrowest method a company may use. Let's take a closer look at these 4 market targeting strategy. First is undifferentiated marketing. A company may ignore market segments and sell the same products for everyone if they choose undifferentiated marketing. That means they create a one-size-fits-all product. Differentiated marketing, a company may target several segments and design separate offers for each. Take Procter & Gamble for example. This company has many different detergent brands to serve different segments according to their choices. For example, like Tide, Downy, Bounce. Number 3 is concentrated or niche marketing. That means a company focuses on one particular niche and become a major brand in this segment. Niches are very small segments. For example, the company left its target left-handed people and created products for only left-handed people, making them one of the most successful companies that create products for only left-handed people. And finally, micro-marketing. Micro-marketing is the narrowest form of market targeting strategy. It means a company will tailor different products for specific regions or even for specific individuals. In simple words, the company offers customization for its customer. Rolls-Royce and Nike are perfect examples for micro-marketing because these two brands let customers design their own products. And now that we have learned the 4 targeting strategies, how can a company select the best strategy that suited the company the best? A company may evaluate upon these 4 criteria: company's resources, the degree of product variability, degree of market variability, or competitors' marketing strategies.
Finally, let's take a look at the aspect of differentiation and positioning in a customer value-driven marketing strategy. On one hand, we have differentiation, which is the process of differentiating the market to create superior customer value. On the other hand, we have positioning, which is the process of arranging a market offering to occupy a clear, distinctive, and desirable place compared to competing products in the minds of target consumers. There are 3 major steps for this. First, a company has to identify a set of possible differentiations that create competitive advantage. A company can do this by finding points of differentiation and especially by thinking through the customer's lens. Second, a company has to choose one or few advantages to build a position on, meaning that a product has to respond to specific criteria and that a product has to be important, distinctive, superior, communicable, preemptive, affordable, and profitable. Finally, a company has to select an overall positioning strategy, which will answer the question, why should I buy your brand, from a customer? To answer this question, a company has to choose a value proposition among more for more, which implies paying high quality with high price, more for the same, which implies offering more for the same price as a competitor, same for less, which implies offering the same quality for a lower price, less for much less, which implies basic quality for a low price, and finally, more for less, offering more for more quality for a lower price. Those are 5 value propositions that a company has to choose. And to tie this up, a company has to determine a positioning statement, which expresses how a given product, service, or brand fills the specific consumer need in a way that competitors cannot. For example, the company Build-A-Bear Workshop has a really good positioning statement, which is placing a heart in a furry friend that brings to mind warm thoughts of childhood, friendship, trust, and love. With this positioning statement, customers can really engage and get involved with it because the point of differentiation is in the purchasing experience, in that customers have the ability to modify and personalize their cuddly toy. This in turn will help us understand the company's positioning because there's a distinctiveness in the eyes of consumers, which are children and parents mostly, and also the fulfillment of the desire to make something special, but also to give something special. So that is it on differentiation and positioning.
Moving on to chapter 18, we have competitor analysis. So in this part, marketers need to understand competitors' strategy in order to create competitive advantages. There are 3 steps. The first one is identifying, the second one is assessing, and the third one is selecting. So firstly, to identify competitor as all firms with the same products, a class of products. So in doing this, company must avoid competitor myopia. For example, Kodak failed to Latin competitor as the market of digital camera, then lose out to their current competitor, which is Fuji camera. So avoiding competitor myopia will help company identify the right competitor to compete with. Next, we will have assessing competitor with 4 categories: determining competitor objective, identifying strategy, assessing strengths and weaknesses, and estimating competitor reactions. So starting with determining competitor objective. To know if the competitor is satisfied with its current situations or knowing their new objective, we can forearm them to gain competitive advantages. Next is to identify competitor strategy. We have strategic group as a group of firm in an industry following the same or similar strategy. For example, in the fast food industry, we have Popeye and KFC. Each mainly sell fried chicken and some other fast foods such as hamburger with the same price range. In the last 2 steps, marketers need to assess competitor strengths and weaknesses, then estimating competitor reactions. In assessing competitor strengths and weaknesses, we have benchmarking, in which company comparing our products with other firms that improve our products' quality and performance to increase our company competitiveness. So, estimating competitor reactions is important because in some industry, competitors live in harmony, but in other, competitors can be combative, which can reflect unfavorably on the entire industry, which is a bad thing. The final step in competitor analysis is to selecting competitor to attack or avoid. So in this step, the company would choose between strong or weak, good or bad competitor to compete with, or they can find uncontested marketplace. Most companies would choose weak competitor and compete with because it requires less resources and time. A great way to avoid competition and conflict with other competitors is seeking an uncontested marketplace. Apple has been practicing this strategy and success after introducing a line of products that use iOS operating system. No one can compete with them in their own field. After analyzing competitor, company will decide competitive strategy to gain competitive advantages. So first is approach through marketing strategy. Marketers can choose among entrepreneurial marketing, formulated marketing, or intrapreneurial marketing. An example for entrepreneurial marketing is Netflix. So Netflix arguably have a head start on word-of-mouth marketing. Its core product, original programming like House of Cards, offer an enjoyable origin experience that people naturally want to talk about. However, Netflix boosts its customer experience by tapping into user data and sentiment and delivering exactly what people want on the back of it. For example, recognizing the phenomenon of binge watching, Netflix strategically released all 10 episodes of Making a Murderer in one go. And what's more is released it on 19 December in the US, a time when viewers could be well primed to hibernate during the holiday. Next, I'll quickly skim through 6 basic competitive strategies. The first one is overall cost leadership. Here, the company worked hard to achieve the lowest productions and distribution costs. Low costs let the company price lower than its competitors and win a large market share. For example, Walmart are leading on this strategy. So the next one is differentiations. The company concentrates on creating a highly differentiated products line and marketing programs so that it comes across as the class leader in the industry. The next one is focus. So the company focus is effort on serving a few market segments well rather than going after the whole market. For example, Diet Coca-Cola, a very common and probably a global example of focus strategy. The company made this product specifically for people having diabetes or similar issues. Moreover, Diet Coke was an excellent addition for those who prefer low-sugar beverage. The next one is operational excellence. Company provides superior value by leading in industry, price, and convenience. Customer intimacy is company provides superior value precisely. Segmenting its market and tailoring its product service exactly match the need of target customer. Finally, we have product leadership. Company provides superior value by offering a continuous stream of leading-edge product service. Finally, there are 4 competitive positions: leader, challenger, follower, and nicher. Firms need to identify their positions since each market's positions call for different competitive strategy. For example, the market leader wants to expand total demand and protect or expand its share. That's all. Moving on, time we talk about balancing customer and competitor orientations.
So move on the last chapter, balancing customer and competitor orientation. So we have 3 types of companies: competitor-centered company, customer-centered company, and market-centered company. Competitor-centered company spend most of its time tracking competitors' move and market share and trying to find ways to counter them. Customer-centered company spends more of its time focusing on customer development and designing strategy, provides a better position than competitor-centered company to identify opportunities and build customer relationships. Market-centered company spend most of its time focusing on both competitors and customer development in designing strategy. So, a competitive orientation is important in today's markets, but companies should not overdo their focus on competitors. Companies are more likely to be hurt by emerging consumer needs and new competitors than by existing competitors. Market-centered companies that balance customer-centered company and competitor-centered company consideration are practicing a true market orientation. A customer-centered company it is a better position to identify new opportunities and set a strategy course that make long-run sense. It can decide which customer groups and emerging needs are the most important to serve, given its resources and objective. This is done through paying attention to the evaluation of customer needs and deciding which customer group and emerging needs are most important to serve. A competitor-centered company is develop a fighter orientation, being on constant alert, watching for weakness in its competitors and its own position. It also determines its move based on its competitors' move does not move towards its own goal. Through this, enable the company to be always on the watch for one's own weakness and other actions. The company may end up being too reactive and may compromise itself in terms of innovation ability. So that is all for group presentation today for Chapter 7 and Chapter 18. Thank you for listening.